Hi everyone. So I'm waiting for Baba Fasami to get here so we can talk about sovereignty of remembrance. So for many of you, you know Baba. He's been with us building community since 2016, I believe, and he is obviously a Baba of Ifa tradition and also has been a active and founding member of this C.O.R.E program. Long time, and he's a dear friend of ours and dear friend of mine. And today I'm really excited to talk about this idea of hi Baba.
Hello.
Yes, I was just sharing that I'm just really excited about talking in regards to equity work and the sovereignty of remembrance around that. We often talk about how, when we talk about equity work, people think about equity work in one way. And I think it's fair for us to talk about how we look at equity work at Minka, you know. Um, People may come from more of a very intellectual type of understanding, or sometimes that can lead to shame and guilt spiral. Um, in the other times that it can be in this place of, I don't know, avoidance, or just really in a hurt place.
Mm,
And even though that can naturally occur, that's not where we are working from or working towards, right? And we have this
fair.
conversation often, so I just really thought that I wanted to hear your beautiful take on what equity work can look like in regards to this idea of sovereignty and remembrance.
Thanks. Peace to the good people. So before all that, it's important to name that
Huh?
core as an effort, right, is largely for those who are facilitating and desiring it for its success and its function and its is an exercise in exceptional amounts of joy.
Yeah,
Which
totally.
is to say that somewhere in this communication, there's multiple places there will be ambiguous joy, right? So if you're coming looking for like answers to the we're not here for that. We're really moving on this green ball at the same, like living in the same age, and we just really enjoy doing it with each other.
Yeah.
So I just want to set that up to be fair. Um,
Yeah.
but I think it's important to name. It's really important. It's important. It's important.
It's
Um,
important because Lindsay and I was having a conversation the other day. I don't know if you saw this, but the continuous part that we were coming back to is like, we love us.
yeah, and that's like when you distill it, right? Like it's all about love, right? It's all about, but love is such a awkwardly, sometimes perverted, sometimes weaponized, sometimes undefined, sometimes like all of that, right? But
Yeah,
the way in
right.
which we choose to love each other is not from a
Hmm.
utopic space. It's
Hmm.
from an emergent, like I really enjoy watching people who have become some of my best reflections and friends become who they are meant to be, right?
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
even when I'm in my most challenged space, sharing space with you, with Lindsay, with Ashni, and not to say that I get to spend as much time with everybody in core as I'd like,
Yeah.
but the knowledge of their existence and the work that they're doing doesn't mean that, oh, I wish I would move back to fill in the blank, or in your case, move to Japan, right? But like, it's not like this, I need to be near. It's more of a, okay, let me remember that to to be to have such wonderful friends and reflections and cohorts and like peers
Yeah.
is to remember to soften to loving myself.
Yeah. Hmm.
Because there's no time in 3D or over the phone or whatever where you are all sharpening me in a way that feels oppressive,
Mm.
right? You're not reflecting back to me in a way that doesn't feel um, mutual and equitable, which is
Mm.
what I was going to
Hmm.
first start out with, We have to
Mm.
really understand that equity is understanding that people have different access points,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the consciousness of radical equality,
Yeah.
right? It's the consciousness of radical equity.
Yeah.
But to know where your access point, where your entry point is, you
Mm-hmm.
have to have a sense of sovereignty.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And by sovereignty, we don't mean you are autonomous in a way that nurtures individualism.
Right.
By
Mm-hmm.
autonomous, by sovereign, we mean all your experiences up to this point has made you the master of you.
Right.
And hopefully you have reflected enough that you have a good sense of the medicine that you've garnered as a consequence of you being you.
Mm-hmm.
And so you know what boundaries are needed for you in this stage of your growth and development.
Mm-hmm.
You know that for you, this is a point of no negotiation, right? I can't, in any type of integrity, like associate with or be in alignment with this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the spaces where I don't actually have answers, but I'm very much open as long as the how of it is respectful of my humanity, right? You can only
Mm-hmm.
get to those understandings through a sovereign lens.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you've
Mm-hmm.
been, oftentimes we are encouraged
Yeah.
to associate with a clique, with a wing, with an ideology, with a political party, with a catchy phrase, with a right, as if just by association, um, then you belong to that, right?
Right. Yeah.
Um, and that's not going to actually help us create the future that we want.
Right. I really love how you're basically kind of bringing in one of the pillar, that equity, spirituality, and that embodiment.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you have to see how it feels in your body, right?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't my purpose. My godfather says this all the time, and I'm sure he got it from his godfather. Um, uh, how the water got into the coconut is the coconut's business. There's a lot of things I'm here to think about. There's a lot of things that I'm here to
Oh,
know. There's a lot of things I'm here to experience.
yeah.
But the things that are not mine are not mine.
Totally.
But it's really important to the coconut,
Yeah.
right?
Oh my God, that's
Like it's really
the
like that's part of
best
its
thing.
purpose, right? But like it's really not my business for real,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
can still appreciate the coconut, right?
Mm-hmm.
Without having to know, right? I don't have to distract myself from what my purpose is and what my
Yeah.
magic is and what my divine natural reason for being is.
Yeah.
Just because I don't know what makes you tick.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally. Yeah.
And then that again is a sovereign negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
I trust that you are divine, that you were born of the same creative spark, that we are not, we don't know each other by mistake,
Mm-hmm.
right? That
Mm-hmm.
that the stages of your growth and stages of your transformation are in their own divine time.
Yeah.
And that because I had a breakthrough aha moment doesn't mean that you have to always get mine, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I can hold space for your almost aha moment without comparing it to my own.
Yeah. Totally.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I can
Mm-hmm.
hold space for someone who's at the beginning of an awakening
Mm-hmm.
in remembrance of when I was at the beginning of an awakening.
Totally. Mm-hmm.
Right. I can
Mm-hmm.
witness hurt people
Mm-hmm.
and not make your whole company bad people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. Um, I can have a clear, like, I don't really mess with, we don't talk about this because we don't see eye to eye and we haven't quite figured out how to agree to disagree.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we can't have a meal together,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
right? And we
Mm-hmm.
don't necessarily see a lot of examples of that. It's on some
No.
all or nothing. Who are your ops?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't believe that you can possibly sit down with them.
Mm-hmm.
No desire for curiosity.
Yeah.
No assumption that because I made a misstep or I saw something off or I was having a rough day or there was pain that was
Yeah.
that was that was intangible that I was really suffering through. I was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this idea that I did something that hurt people do, not making excuses, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm accountable to it, and still you lock me inside of this frozen moment in time, which was probably my not my best moment,
Yeah.
right? Which boils down to, in my sovereign right to be me and
Yeah.
discover what that is and who that is,
Mm-hmm.
I have a principle that you are not the worst thing you've ever done.
Yeah.
That's my
Mm-hmm.
principle,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
If I'm in partnership, collaboration with someone who believes that people are the worst thing that they do, we may have to negotiate what we're comfortably doing together.
Totally. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the remembrance part is that these are the negotiations that school didn't prepare us for, right? um that what we thought was like liberation of our, from our home environments didn't prepare us for, aka young adulthood,
Mm-hmm.
right? These are the things that maybe some, when you can speak to this, who had the privilege of giving birth to other humans, right? Maybe you were forced into a sovereign awareness. You're like, of me but not me.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And how
Yeah.
much of them am I going to make space for?
Mm-hmm.
Because they chose you and you have a responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
but not you.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah. 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 And it's really interesting though, that balance, right? What I'm hearing from what you're sharing is that the balance between what's my responsibility and what's the responsibility, actually what's my responsibility, where am I going to be accountable for, and which part is mine, which part is yours, and do I have the capacity and awareness to hold that with you?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not that it's my responsibility to force or change anything onto you. And my responsibility of being here with you means that I'm here with you so you can have the best learning experience. And I'm not saying in just terms of core or any trainings, but I'm saying that in terms of life and relationship. Because relationship is a container in which certain things unfolds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
with the mirroring of one another, we get to see the parts of us that we don't see in other ways, you know? And I think part of the reason why core is structured the way it is, and it's really much about being with one another, is that there's an exponential growth that can happen when you're with other people, because we just don't know about ourselves. We only know
Unless we
ourselves
have,
from
yeah,
that perspective of us, like
yes,
me, myself, right?
right.
And we, because of the culture, like you're mentioning, how we are so trained to segment ourselves in like, oh, I'm this and I'm that, I'm this, I'm that, then we villainize each other and we actually hold others in this light that is not the entirety of who they are. Therefore we lose a lot of the nuances and a lot of the beautiful parts of people, because evolutionarily speaking, we are meant to pay attention to what feels not safe to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Mm-hmm.
also
Mm-hmm.
not blaming us for having that inclination to pay attention to what doesn't feel safe for us. And I think it's a good thing in general. And I think the ask is, now we are at this place, at this precipice of whatever it is that we are bringing into this next generation. Can we be in a practice to go just a little bit beyond that survival nature? Can
Yeah.
we remember that?
And every mystic language of God is speaking that where we're going,
Mm-hmm.
this age that we're going into,
Mm-hmm.
by necessity must have collaboration.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I work, at Sacred Land Collective. We have a really brilliant marketing director, or managing director rather,
Mm-hmm.
who consistently reminds us of the cosmic mirror,
Mm-hmm.
right? That we are always mirrors of each other, right?
Yeah.
Which doesn't mean, like you just said, doesn't mean that what we're seeing reflected isn't something we feel that we need to protect ourselves from, right?
Yeah. Right.
Being a mirror doesn't mean that the image back in the mirror is like clear.
Yeah.
It just means you're seeing what's within you. So, which is to say, every person is a teacher, right?
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
if we can build capacity, and this is, has shown up a lot in my algorithms, is what I've been meditating on and what I try to explore a little more every day in
Mm-hmm.
my meditations and all the things.
Mm-hmm.
We speak a lot about the analysis of where we are currently, what's wrong, but we don't
Mm-hmm.
speak enough about repair.
Yeah. And what's
We don't
good?
speak enough, yeah, we don't speak enough about what it means, whether it's a magical like aha moment of like, oh, it wasn't what I thought. My
Yeah.
bad. Right? Which is usually the way the Sagittarians move through the world, myself included.
I know.
Um,
I
um, or whether it's more of a like, oh, I needed to regulate myself enough to
Yeah.
see that it can't be you, right? I just met you. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's what I see in me through you.
Yeah.
And so how do I practice enough detachment to remember
Mm-hmm.
that we're all walking each other home?
Yeah.
Like this isn't a competitive space,
No.
right? By necessity, right? This isn't, we grow exponentially, as you mentioned, with more reflective, refractal, what I'm saying, possibility
Yeah.
than we do from this us and them space.
Yeah. Right.
Now I'm going to challenge you, and I'm curious, right? Because in spite of all of that, the feel good that we just went through,
Yeah.
because we are inside of a very real fascist, um, almost a cementing, right? There's a framework being built, and the cement's about to be poured.
Mm-hmm.
Some would
Mm-hmm.
say it's been poured for some time,
Mm-hmm.
right? And maybe it's above most people's, like maybe up to people's neck to the point where like that's all they're going to be able to see,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And everything's about perspective, right?
Yeah.
In the face of that,
Mm-hmm.
talk to me about in your sovereign knowing,
Yeah.
how do you discern and how do you process when
Mm.
you've identified that this is a person of the 7 billion of us on the planet,
Yeah.
right? Or this is
Mm-hmm.
a institution, this is a way of thinking, this is a culture, whatever it is,
Mm. Mm.
that you don't want to be a part of.
Um, like, where'd you go?
Sorry.
Like, how do I
I
know? How do I know when I'm not supposed to be in a particular configuration of relationship with this person or institution? Is that what you mean?
more simpler. I was getting all dramatic and yeah.
How do I know? And what I do when I know? Is that what you mean?
Yes. Yes.
How do I know is this? I try my best not to look at the bells and whistles of what it is that's happening,
Mm-hmm.
but the guiding principle in which this person or this group moves. And oftentimes we are trained to pay attention to the bells and whistles, the loudest part of it, the one
Mm-hmm.
that we see on the surface. And to
Mm-hmm.
me, as a healing facilitator, we all know what you see on the surface is the result of whatever it is that has happened in the past, which shows up a particular way, right?
Right. Right.
And then inside of that there's people or person in there. So what I want to know when I'm encountering or when I'm in a relationship is that, okay, I understand this is the expression of it now. Tell me about your guiding principle that you believe and that you want to align yourself with, so I know where you are going. And no matter what the expression is, if I can agree with and I feel aligned with the guiding principle that you have and you are really with it, then I know we can work something out, because we
So,
can always come back to that alignment that, okay, I understand this is what you're doing and I understand this is what I'm doing. And at the core of it, who are you as an essence and what drives you. And if what drives you is not inherently aligned with what drives me, in a simplistic sense, like, are you about harmony? Are you about
Hmm.
loving?
Hmm.
Versus, are you about dehumanizing? Are you about moving away from our, I don't want to use the word goodness, but you see what I'm saying, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. There's a and harmony is a great word, right? Because to
yeah,
get to harmonics, you can't be all speaking the same note, right?
no,
So
no,
are you interested in showing up fully yourself that
yeah,
harmonizes with others?
yeah,
Or is there a sense of dominance or a need for dominance
right,
or a
yeah,
sense of
that's great.
lack that
Mm-hmm,
drives your choices because
mm-hmm,
you've bought into the assumption that there's scarcity, right?
yeah, totally.
Which is a really great metric,
Mm-hmm,
right, inside
yeah,
of your sovereign negotiation,
yeah,
because I personally believe, and I think you share this belief,
yeah,
that nothing in nature is like is scarce. Like scarcity is something you have to create
yeah,
and then sustain
yeah,
in order to then like feed or market to people, right?
totally.
There was
Mm-hmm,
something I was watching about the amount of fruit trees that fruits
mm,
or the amount of fruit that fruit trees produce. It's
yeah,
almost like Laser's like, if you don't share this, there's something wrong with you. Right?
yeah, hmm,
Now, we happen to
mm-hmm,
have a relationship to nature where we're cutting down the things that allow for that flourishing. And so
yeah,
people's experience is very curated or manicured, right?
mm-hmm,
To
mm-hmm,
promote scarcity, right?
yeah,
And then we have a whole
mm-hmm,
bunch of marketing around you're not good enough, you got to do this to feel better, right? But when
yeah,
we
right,
sit with nature, we're really clear that abundance abounds. Creativity is actually the like magnetic force that
yeah,
allows us to get through something. And
mm-hmm,
especially in times where the economic realities. I'm currently on the East Coast in my city of birth, right?
mm-hmm,
In the
mm-hmm,
metropolis, right?
mm-hmm,
And I'm looking at, I mean, the food prices are serious everywhere,
mm-hmm,
um, which is what it is, right? And so my
yeah,
individual buying power, quote unquote, right? My
mm-hmm,
capacity to go somewhere and buy what I want when I want
mm-hmm,
is potentially compromised because prices are so high, right?
right,
But
mm-hmm,
my creative capacity and creative intelligence to invite people to have a meal,
mm-hmm,
like let us all chip in so we can all eat,
yeah,
is like a natural thing for me right now, right?
mm-hmm, yeah,
But I'm flexible enough and aware of myself and where my values are that I
yeah,
don't be like, oh, I can't afford nothing, right? My
right,
actual conversation is how can I spend more time with people that I love so that we
mm-hmm,
can all handle a need together.
yeah, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, totally,
Now,
mm-hmm,
what we purchase is based on people's sovereign, like, I'm not eating that, right? That's not
yeah,
what I eat. That's what I do,
totally,
right? So how do we
yeah,
diversify it, right?
yeah,
But it doesn't mean that, like, because my individual agency
yeah,
doesn't match the current, like, imbalanced hoarding of resource, right? That
yeah,
somehow I'm going to start to question I'm not doing this right. Nah, man.
yeah,
Like, it's
and
happening
and
so that I can be more creative.
and it's kind of like, oh, you brought ham. Oh, you are not my people, right? That's totally the conversation we have a lot of times. It's like, oh wow, you are the person who buy ham, so you are certainly not. But I was like,
Yeah,
I'm not going to deny you what you like. What I'm saying is, what you like, I don't like. But you know what? Be at a table, fine. Tell me why you like your ham,
right,
and I tell
right,
you
right,
why I like. Well, I'll tell you why I like my rice. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right, right. Right. And I'll be over here with my quinoa because apparently at a certain age the digestion is better. But these things. Speaking
Yeah,
of,
yeah,
I went to this place
uh huh,
today. My good friend took me to this place.
yeah.
And I love when it lines up this way. Um, the place is called uh Carol's, I want to say. It's by the museum, right?
Oh
Um,
yeah, Cheryl's
Cheryl, yes, yes.
OG spot. Oh my god, so good.
So I was watching her, the actual owner,
Yeah, Cheryl's amazing,
on
right?
IG pick out spices for her curry, right? And I was like, dope. And I didn't know that when my friend was like, we're going to share, I was like, I didn't put it together.
Yeah,
So the menu's small. Like it's basic. It's wonderful, but it was like brunch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm gonna get a burger. Sometimes you look at a menu and you're like, I really want what I want this to taste like to come out of the kitchen,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
But it's a risk, right? Burgers are burgers, right?
Yeah.
But when I tell you, I still taste the perfection of this burger, like the perfection of this burger. Now, as I just mentioned, we're in this place where, like, if you're using your resource towards going out, eating out, supporting an establishment, right? Um, it's not light, right? It's a conscious choice. Now, the company was awesome,
Mm-hmm.
right? The staff was awesome,
Mm-hmm.
but I was so pleased with my buying power, with my choice, right? The choice that I made and how excellent it was. So I was telling the
Yeah.
server, and he was telling me about the restaurant owner and
Yeah.
that she'd gone to look for her she'd done a live about or a video about going to get her spices. I was like, I saw that video. I know that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. And he pulls out his phone and he calls her. Right. And I was like, that's really kind. And I tell her how much I enjoy her burger. But I
Yeah.
also ask her if we could sit and talk about her relationship, her intentional relationship
Mm-hmm.
with culture, identity, food, service, right? For
Mm-hmm.
someone to put so much thought into a thing that allows me to have such an experience, right?
Yeah.
Um, that's where the like inspiration and curiosity, right, around what are you made of, right? So I think that
Yeah.
right now we're in a place where if we don't get curious about the pleasures that we're experiencing, if we don't
Mm-hmm.
take for granted any of it,
Yeah.
right, we can learn so much
Yeah.
about how to understand equity,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
How to transform and transmute and do some transformative justice,
Yeah.
right? Because it's not like the thing that we're trying to create doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it needs our collaboration to be
Yeah.
realized.
Yeah.
It
To
can't
me.
just be in one place or one city or one, right? How do
Yeah.
we create a culture that's about appreciation, that
Mm-hmm.
values grace and humanity, that
Mm-hmm.
is pluralistic by necessity, right? That is
Mm-hmm.
that is equitable and diverse and all these things
Mm-hmm.
without the quiche words that we grew up with, right?
Yeah.
Right? Without this assumption that like, oh, that just means that you're
Mm-hmm.
liberal. Well, nah. What if
Mm-hmm.
it just means that you're here with other humans? Who have their own, who have their own tastes and desires and wounds, but we can be here together if we can just learn
Yeah.
how to be in relationship with actual humans, not with people that validate,
Yeah.
you know, our own wounds or our own
Mm-hmm.
worst parts, but people who can like, oh yeah, I can be with something I don't like
Mm-hmm.
without turning that person into my enemy.
Yeah. And that really reminded me. Uh, I love how beautifully that was framed through that story of the burger eating. Um, and
I just had to talk about how good the burger was. I just needed to put
oh
that in
man,
sentence. It was
because
so good.
Cheryl is the boss. That's why. But it really makes me think about the time that we are living and how people see you as who you show up to be on the surface, not really understanding there is a tangible history that's
Mm,
behind that action that people show up with you know
mm,
and I think that's kind of the reason you know me enough that you know that I hate labels. I hate
mm-hmm,
people tell me that I'm this, I'm that,
mm-hmm,
because I
mm-hmm,
feel like that's so limiting. And I
mm-hmm,
realize that now that is because they erases the history of how I have arrived to be this.
mm-hmm,
Somehow people feel that when you meet somebody for the first time, or me for the first time, that they somehow believe that, or the assumption is that I have always been this way and it was like this way that was given to me.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
No, I actually have lived and reflect and get my heart broken and learn to have the way that I am showing up to be. I wasn't like this I wasn't like this yesterday. I wasn't
Right,
like this 10 years
right,
ago.
right.
And that's not only my lived experience, but all of my ancestors' experiences, where that informed me to have certain experiences so I can actually refine what it is for me to be me, and what it is for me to show up the way I do, you know? And I don't think in this current time we don't do enough of that affirmation of like, I see you, and I know that I don't know all that goes into being the way you are,
Yeah. And
you know?
the curiosity of knowing that
Mm-hmm.
every single person, even this orange peel, right?
Whatever, whoever,
Right?
all of them.
He's right. Um, is is an accumulation of so many circumstances.
Yeah.
And even those who were robbed of what they felt was choice,
Yeah.
right? They too are in a process that is
Mm-hmm.
unfolding,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we truly believe that we have all that we need right now, and
Mm-hmm.
that's not just a privileged sort of like thing to say,
Mm-hmm.
then then for me, if it's here, then it's okay to be curious about all of it, like
Yeah.
super curious,
Yeah.
right? I don't have my pride isn't so great that I have to always show up as if I know,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And even the
Mm-hmm.
things that I'm known for, the things that I'm skilled at, or the things that I practice,
Mm-hmm.
the reason I keep practicing is because I'm super curious. Like,
Me
what is the
too.
right?
That's a
I'm like,
sad
oh, I
thing, I think.
wonder,
Oh
right?
wow.
Right?
Tell
Like I
me
didn't
why.
know, right? And when I run across people who need to qualify or need to categorize or need to maybe their skill is in an industry that has short cycles of relevancy, right?
Yeah.
So they have to
Mm-hmm.
capture the thing really quick. They have to name it really quick. They have to label it really quick. I
Yeah.
was like, I can dig it if that's what you
Mm-hmm.
need, but don't project that onto me,
Yeah.
right? And then in the interpersonal space, especially in personal, I'm not talking about romantic. I'm talking about someone that you love, someone that you've rocked with, someone that you have gone through a season with.
Yeah.
And when they get to a season where there's a transformation happening, the
Mm-hmm.
thing that the thing that's challenging for me is like, oh, we used to, and I was like, I'm not here when that's placed on me, right? I'm not
Right.
here to fit anyone else's comfort space.
Yeah.
I'm here to be a space of comfort, hopefully, or challenge,
Mm.
which is comfort, right?
Mm.
But I'm not
Mm-hmm.
here to be the like, I know he'll always this, right? And I
Right.
was like, because my closest friends are all over the world,
Yeah.
which is a weird thing, right? Like my
Mm-hmm.
closest friends are all over the world.
Yeah.
And so if I personally, in my own sovereignty, needed the anchoring of someone who really knows me to be right
Mm-hmm.
next to me all the time,
Mm-hmm.
I'd be stuck.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I've chosen this life where my closest friends are all over the world, which is to say, if I don't speak to you for months because you're in Japan, right? I'm more curious about how you've been since I saw you last. What changes? What have you discovered? What was spring like in, right? Like
Yeah.
that's curious to me versus the need for you to stay the same person. Now,
Yeah.
the other piece about the values of my sovereignty is if I exist, the opposite of me has to exist.
Totally. Mm-hmm.
So I don't say any of that because that's like my ideal universe. I say it
Mm-hmm.
because for me to be courageously, unapologetically, uniquely myself,
Mm-hmm.
I have to let other people do the same.
Exactly right. Mm-hmm.
And so if somebody's like, no, I need my people to be right next to me, word, right? And I'm curious
Yeah.
about that too, because it's not my
Yeah.
lived experience,
Yeah.
right?
Totally. Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're going to make me your people, right? How are we negotiating the fact that I'm I gotta travel. That's what I do. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean I
Mm-hmm.
could never be your people?
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then duly noted.
Yeah.
But are you open to possibly having a person who's your people who isn't right next to you?
Yeah.
Do you know yourself enough to not be intimidated by the fact that my integrity and my authenticity exists in a way that isn't necessarily prescribed by your immediate needs, but is
Yeah.
mindful of the fact that you have needs?
Yeah. And I think there's actually a remembrance of the commitment that we have for each other. That can you trust me that
Mm,
I am committed to you and your growth, and I'm loyal to your growth, and I'm committed to your value. No, I'm committed to the person that you are, that is constantly changing and growing.
mm, yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I'm committed to you. You know, can you believe me when I say I'm committed to you, even if I am 7,000 miles away?
Right. It reminds me in the immediate moment of the end of Goodwill Hunting,
Mm,
or near the end, when the best friend was like, "One day I want to show up and I want you not to be here."
mm,
Right. Which was
mm-hmm.
his version of like, "I love you so much. I know that you are suffocating
Yeah.
in this box of a life that you've created for yourself. I
Mm-hmm.
really hope that at some point you have the courage to become who you're meant to become,
Yeah.
and know that
Totally.
I will love you, whoever that."
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're at 30 minutes, and we know that the
Yes.
people who watch these things, you know what I'm saying,
We're
they're gonna
supposed to
take
be 15
snippets and then
minutes,
take,
and I knew
yeah.
it wasn't going to be 15,
Here
but
we are. Here
here
we
we
are.
are.
But if you're looking for a thread as to why this conversation is happening, other than the fact that we're using technology, because we are, and what else is there to do on a Friday, on a Saturday, Sunday morning, and a Saturday night? But so we're here because we are a small part of this thing called consciousness of radical equity. And Minka Constellations, we all came together, and Aki has been speaking about this, and we've all been speaking about this, to create a leadership training program that helps combine, right, all of our emerging wisdom as it applies to the world that we want. And we want other leaders from various modalities, institutes, walks of life to join us, right? So, although it is a training program, you would get a certificate, the whole nine, right? Um, we are actually asking for more support in co creating the world,
Yeah.
right? And we ask you to trust us enough that we will pass on and take seriously the passing on of the medicine that we individually have and collectively have. And then once you take that medicine, once you wrestle with that medicine, once you work with your own cohort, right? Now you're responsible for expanding the possibilities of this world that we're creating for ourselves, right? So the consciousness of radical equity, because it's about consciousness, it must expand,
Mm-hmm.
right? It has to expand because that's what consciousness does,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And the
Mm-hmm.
radical nature of it is that we're not afraid, right, to uproot from its root, not just the idea of it, right? Um, and then equity we talked about, right? But how do
Mm-hmm.
we expand this transformational time that we're in so
Yeah.
that we can all have an entry point? We can
Mm-hmm.
all have our purpose tied to one another, and we can have the joy that comes with not having to do it alone and
Yeah.
be in service of something that we're co-creating, right? So we
Yeah.
just decided to create something that allows us to share, expand, receive, give, all the things. So
Yeah.
if that means you, then please check out
Yeah.
Conscious of Radical Equity, right? If that
Yeah.
means somebody that you know, if you're like, oh, I know the person this is for, word. It is a
Mm-hmm.
15-month program. We are aware of the length of time and what that means. We have lots of opportunities for access if that's what's needed. Um, and we have an excellent, excellent amount of individuals, hearts, minds, and spirits that are really committed to the purpose of this time, that are really well respected. And more importantly, we enjoy each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with Lindsay, we were saying like, oh my God, because we love us, and or I love us, right? And I think when we say that, we don't mean that I love us as in I love you and you love me and that's locked in and this is it. I think I love us is in way that I love us as a collective, and I want more of us to love us in that way that we are
Right.
talking about.
Right.
It's really a different matrix making, in my opinion. We are living in a particular matrix and we know that, right?
Hmm.
But we can't tell people to get out of matrix when they don't know where they can exist otherwise, because
Where
we have
else
to
they have no
exist
reference for
somewhere.
anything. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So we are doing this reference making. We are doing this active creation of matrix making, and we can't make matrix with 5 people.
It's not. It's not how it works, right?
It's not how it works. It's a collective consciousness thing. So we do need a critical mass of people who can actually co-create this
Correct.
matrix, right? And that matrix is not going to be dominarian way. You have to think this way. It has to be the only way. That new matrix that we imagine is like, oh, you come that way? Fine. How do we fit all of this to harmonize this whole
Mm-hmm.
thing
Mm-hmm.
instead of, oh, it has to be this way or otherwise you're not a good person? None of that. There's no good person, bad person.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain people who behave a certain way more than the other, sure. But at the end of the day, we are all the mix of all the things. That we make
Yeah.
mistakes. That's just being human.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's really about being human. It's really about being together in service of creating something together that we can all be human in together.
Yeah, that focus of a collaborative coming out of a performance space, right? This ensemble,
Yeah.
right? A bunch of people from all over the world or all over the space or all over whatever who come together under a script or the idea of something that we are going to work on regularly to
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
create something that is greater than our individual parts.
Exactly.
And you do that not just once, right? You don't there's everything has an end, right? But you do it so that you can build the muscle of doing it as frequently as is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really exciting to be in this space. And if for some reason in this season, or the season that we're approaching, which is ironically enough, you're watching solstice happen in Aki's world and approach in mine, right? That's a really dope. That's really amazing. Anyway, so um it's really fresh. So each individual part that make up the leadership of Conscious and Radical Equity core, um, get curious about each of us, right? If for some reason you can't get the whole package, right? I promise you, any rabbit hole search of any one of us will leave you curious, right? Because it's true. Like I think about Omar, who has left an incredible impression on how I think about the world,
Mm-hmm.
who I have not been able to like share the same space with in like 2 years, right?
Yeah. Right.
Right. But the work that he is doing is absolutely necessary, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Omar deals with beyond capitalism,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does this cooperative future look like?
Mm-hmm.
Um, throughout the world, throughout the diaspora, right?
Mm-hmm.
Practically, not on some like, oh, that's a nice idea, but like literally, what are the systems? What are the economic ways of being, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I'm confident and I get really excited about CORE because it's people that I want to amplify anyway.
Yeah.
So please just be curious about what that is, and then I promise you won't be disappointed. And lastly, because I'm gonna go get some food.
Great.
It's still my birthday month. Still
Yes.
my birthday month.
Yes. Keep going.
Thank you. Is in this transition from the metal element into the water element as we
Yeah.
move from autumn to winter.
Mm-hmm.
I want to wish you, my dear friend, a beautiful solstice, like a beautiful um, moment of reflection and quiet and internal light, right? Knowing that when I see you again or when we check in again, whether it be 2026 or whatever it is, right, that you have been present with yourself in this transition, right? That you've left in 2025 whatever you need to leave behind without
Yeah.
judgment,
Mm-hmm.
right? That you've trusted your own experience and you're choosing to let go,
Mm-hmm.
and that this coming season for you, for myself, for all of us, right, is one where we're not rushing through the winter, but we're maybe allowing winter to inform the quality of our devotion,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Where we're not wishing it to be different than what it is, but we're starting with acceptance. And
Yeah.
from that acceptance, that we're able to like know that we can get deeper in our knowing, deeper in our understanding, deeper in our grief, deeper in our memories, deeper in our creative, like deeper in our nurturing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I thank you for being yourself. And I look forward to who you're becoming when I talk to you again.
Yes.
Um, yeah, yeah.
Well, I love you so much as always, and you have always been such a, I don't know, you bring the different perspective into my life as a cis male awesomest human being, and because I don't see everything, and you help me see many different parts of myself that I'm so deeply ignorant with, and
Mm.
reflecting the same prayer to you, and love you.
Thanks. Thanks. And to whoever's watching this, wherever you're watching it from, be well.
Bye,
Yeah.
y'all.
Peace.